Blue skies means fun days. Helping skydivers with tips and techniques about safety, training and fun jumping from those who know.
My big thing about skydiving is I want to give people a reason to skydive, and I want to keep the sport healthy. So organising Boogies is a great way to keep people enthused about the sport, whether they're like super experienced or people that are just getting into the sport, to see what can happen at Boogie in terms of the fun that could be had, but also learning from people that have been in the sport for a long time, because it's a great way for people to make connections, whether it's people at their own level or potentially to find mentors, and also just have a good time. Boogies are like hugely popular in the sense that it's not just about the skydiving. There's that real connection and community that goes with it, and I think that's really important to keep the sport healthy. There is that little bit of, I won't say you're thrown to the wolves, but after you've done your B license and your B rails and you've got your C license, there's not much in the way of education or training. You're left to make your own devices. So I originally started all this to try and give people pathways in the sport, even if I started just doing Starcrests. And then part of it is like I wanted to learn angles, and it's cheaper for me to organise a beginner angles event and get a coach in rather than just do one-on-one coaching. And that's how it started. And then people were saying, oh, I want to do this, and can you help me do this? And I've always said to them, I don't actually have to participate or be on an event to actually help organise it. I'm more than happy to, even just to be on the end of the phone to sort of talk you through a process or how to fill in the forms or give you advice about how to put it together. But yeah, do it. It's really rewarding. It's not that hard, and it's a lot of fun at the end of the day. In terms of events, I'm always organising events, and those are pitched at different levels of experience, whether that's a beginner, sort of intermediate to the advanced stuff. I think last year I organised easily upwards of 40 events, I think. In terms of Boogies, I've only actually organised two. One was the Pride Boogie at Maroya, and then I recently organised a pretty relaxed, shove it up your COVID ass boogie at Picton a few weeks ago. And again, it's really, there's a reason when I think about organising big events, there's always a reason behind it. So with the Pride Boogie, it was more about visibility. I'm gay, and one of the things I've found about skydiving is it's one of the most welcoming sports I've ever participated in. And a lot of people think about, why do the gays have to make a big deal about it? And it's not actually, we're not actually doing it for the straight community. We're actually doing it for other gay and lesbian and diverse people to say, look, here's a sport that you can participate in and feel safe in. So it's about sort of telling people that this is a safe space for people of diverse backgrounds to participate in, which is, again, really healthy for the sport. And the COVID Boogie was just, everyone has been in lockdown for God knows how long, and just giving people an excuse to come out, reconnect with their friends, do some dumb jumps, fun jumps, and just have a good time, have a party in the evening. I mean, I came to the sport quite late, and I there was a little bit of that round the campfire stuff at Eldersley, where I sort of did a lot of my sort of early jumping. But I think the sport changes, and the people that come into the sport have a different expectation, and people aren't necessarily wanting to hang around the DZ at night anymore. That's fine, it is what it is, and I'm sort of trying to think about events to how to actually create community. And a lot of my events, in terms of stuff that happens, the learning kind of happens before you get to the event. You're connected with the coach before the event, as we sort of organise it on Facebook. So there's a little bit of learning that goes around that. And then, as I've got a little bit more experience of organising events and working with particular coaches, because the coaches I work with, they're absolutely phenomenal, all of them. But they're thinking about, well, what kind of lessons or what kind of education can I give people that are coming onto this camp before they actually get here? So again, it's just a different way of learning. And the community, it happens in different ways. people should get involved in the sport. It's super simple to organise a boogie. It's a lot of fun, it's really rewarding, and there's nothing like, knowing that you've actually created something at the end of the day. It's so much fun. The APF and the New South Wales Parachute Council are great. They're really supportive. Obviously the APF had a bit of a difficult year with COVID, so a lot of the funding was coming from New South Wales. It's not rocket science, you just have to be organised. So it's about thinking about what expenses are you going to incur. My budgets are very simple, but getting a budget together, reading the New South Wales Parachute Council guidelines and the APF guidelines about what they will fund and what they won't fund. So when you're putting a budget together and thinking about who's going to contribute in terms of DZ support, council support and rego support, just working it out, how it all comes together, getting a draft budget, speaking directly with the various people at the council. They sometimes have questions, sometimes they don't, and then filling in the application forms. It's pretty straightforward. You do have to forward fund events, so I actually will will pay all the coaches and then claim the money back from the APF. So there is a little bit of there isn't a financial risk, because quite frankly, if the event isn't going to break even, I'm not going to run it. Quite frankly, before I've actually approached the APF for funding, I've kind of actually got a clear idea that the event's actually going to be a success. And so if I'm not getting enough interest for an event, I just won't put it on, or I'll delay it, or I'll find out what's not working for people and then just try and give it a bit of a tweak. But yeah, I always try and do all the hard yards before I actually go to the APF and ask for money. I say hard yards. It's not difficult, you just need a little bit of organisation. You've got to be a little bit passionate about events. I mean, I'm just passionate about keeping the sport healthy and giving people a reason to jump.
For more tips and techniques, click subscribe.